Another question? Yes.
You talked about a reasonable time frame.
Mm-hmm.
What is a reasonable time frame?
I think it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I've got a business-to-business data.
I think we talk. We're up to about 2 years for most marketing database. I think.
Yeah.
Seems the edge.
I think the to me the sort of the absolute one is about 2 years, but there may be cases, for example, you don't buy a car perhaps every 2 years, so it really depends on what is right for your audience. And what I suggest you do on that is you actually ask your customers and you actually ask your staff and you say, what do you think is reasonable? And if you've gone through a mechanistic process to determine what is a reasonable amount of time period, then I think that's, you know, what everybody needs to do. And that's why I can't prescribe to you to say, but a fallback on general data is about 2 years. And you'll be able to comment, won't you, David, on churn levels?
Yeah, I mean, people move, businesses move. You've got 7% of addresses change every year. You've got, I think it's like 2% of businesses change in some way. They've got a business, they move, they change their domain. So you've really got to me, you should be internally auditing your data more frequently than every 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, maybe something once a year or twice a year to see how current your data is. But you should also be obtaining consent or re-consent periodically as whatever might seem to be a reasonable period.
What about where people have, so these people have registered, so they've opted in,
Mm-hmm.
and they have been emailed regularly, like every fortnight ever since. Any time between last night and 7 years ago, they've registered. So they've opted in. They've been and they've had every email they received. They've had an option to unsubscribe. Do we still have to ask them?
Well, you might be sending it to an email that no longer exists, and part of the data is that you've got to have.
But MailChimp cleans those.
Yeah.
Consent is explicit.
Yeah. Can I just do a broader question on this? I've been involved with education, and if you get a school that goes to become academy status, the local authority, as part of their sort of package, gives them the data, the new academy, but it also gives them a schedule of retention periods. So all of your businesses should look at the type of data that you hold and decide upon a retention period. Your accountants will say you've got to keep your data in relation to your invoices for 7 years. Now, one of the reasons for lawfully processing data is because you do it because of statutory responsibilities. So, you know, you've got to be very careful. Don't just think 2 years or 5 years or 3 years.
It's what's reasonable.
It's whatever is appropriate for that piece of information. Some information is very sensitive, some of it's very important for statutory reasons, some of it's very important because your insurers say, I'm not going to protect you if you can't prove you employed that person when such and such an event happened.
Steve, just on that point though, if you have got data that you first became data for you, say 3 years ago, and you've got a regular dialogue going on, at what point do you take that time period?
Well, I think the advice that we've heard from people is right in that, you know, you need to look at the nature of the relationship with them. If you're communicating with them regularly, so they're saying, right, I've hit my limit and now I need to stop and get consent with you all over again, it's just going to annoy them.
Yeah.
And you need to take a practical, real world approach to this kind of thing.
Okay, thank you.